Hey students, I hope you're all having a great day. My name is Torres and I want to take a moment to thank you for joining me for a little Psych 101. In this video, you will learn about careers in psychology. This video has two overarching ideas. First, there are hundreds of jobs that require the transferable skill of understanding behavior. And second, depending on the job title and/or description, the level of education varies considerably. The topic of this video will focus on the vocabulary on this slide. You can find this information in the Google slide presentation and in the Psych 101 Key Vocab Google Doc. Both of these files are linked in the description box below. Overall, employment that uses a psychology degree is projected to grow 8% from 2020 to 2030, about as fast as the average for all other occupations. There are about 13,000 openings for psychologists projected every year, on average over the decade. Needless to say, the scopes of psychology as a career are huge. Someone interested in psychology has a future in diverse fields, including clinical psychology, industrial psychology, organizational behavior, school psychology, forensic psychology, sports psychology, rehabilitation, and cognitive neuroscience. Most careers in psychology require at least a bachelor's degree, where more advanced degrees like a master's degree, a PhD, or an MD are required for specialized work. When deciding to major in psychology, it's important to understand the many subfields and specializations within this major. These areas of psychology include statistics, organizational/industrial psych, clinical psych, and neuroscience, cognitive studies, behavioral studies, social psych, developmental psych, and educational psych. For the purposes of this video, we're just going to focus on 4 major branches of psychology: clinical psychology, industrial or organizational psychology, sports and exercise psychology, and forensic psychology. Clinical psychology focuses on diagnosis and treatment of psychological disorders and problematic patterns of behavior. The study of clinical psychology involves clinical therapy and counseling. One job within the branch of clinical psychology is a psychiatrist. Psychiatrists are medical doctors. They can prescribe medication and order diagnostic procedures like blood work or brain scans. They treat very complex mental health disorders such as schizophrenia, severe depression, or bipolar disorders. There are many job titles that fit under the category of psychologists. Psychologists find patterns that help them understand and predict behavior. They work with individuals, couples, and families to make desired life changes. They can also identify and diagnose mental behavior and emotional disorders. They can develop and carry out treatment plans. And finally, they can collaborate closely with physicians or social workers as necessary. Typically, psychologists will specialize in one specific type of approach, like psychoanalysis or a behavioral approach. They will treat mild to moderately severe mental health disorders. One license that a psychologist can have is a licensed clinical social worker, or LCSW. In order to become a licensed clinical social worker, you must receive at least a master's degree in a corresponding field and be licensed by the state. These professionals work in a wide variety of settings to provide emotional support, mental health evaluations, therapy, and case management to people experiencing psychological, emotional, medical, social, and/or familial challenges. Licensed marriage and family therapists, LMFTs, are also certified healthcare professionals who have graduated with a master's LMF degree in counseling. Marriage and family therapists are trained to help families and couples identify and treat personal and interpersonal problems, including depression, parent-child conflicts, drug and alcohol abuse, anxiety, and more. Industrial organizational psychology is a branch that applies psychological theories, principles, and research to industrial and organizational settings. This branch involves issues related to personnel management, organizational structure, and workplace environment. Industrial organizational psychology can be broken down into 3 fields. The first field is industrial psychology. Industrial psychology is concerned with finding people the right job for the right employer. Their work involves describing job requirements and assessing individuals for their ability to meet those requirements. In addition, once employees are hired, professionals in the industrial psychology field studies and develops ways to train, evaluate, and respond to the professional development needs of the workers. Because they are concerned with a candidate's characteristics, industrial psychologists must also consider issues of legality regarding discrimination in hiring. The United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or EEOC, is responsible for enforcing federal laws that make it illegal to discriminate against a job applicant or an employee because of a person's race, color, religion, sex, including pregnancy, national origin, age, disability, and genetic information. A professional that works in the field of industrial psychology would work closely with the changing policies of the EEOC to make sure their company is compliant. Organizational psychology is a discipline interested with relationships among employees and how these relationships affect employees and performance of a business. This includes studying worker satisfaction, motivation, and commitment. This field also studies management, leadership, and organizational culture, as well as how an organization structures management and leadership styles, social norms, and role expectations affect individual behavior. As a result of its interest in worker well-being and relationships, organizational psychology also considers the subjects of harassment, including sexual harassment and workplace violence. Human factor psychology is the study of how workers interact with the tools of work and how to design these tools to optimize workers' productivity, safety, and health. They are responsible for the adherence to the Americans with Disabilities Act, which states that employers cannot discriminate against any individual based on a disability. Human factors psychologists can be concerned with interactions as straightforward as the fit of a desk, chair, and computer to a human having to sit on the chair at a desk using a computer for several hours a day. With working from home so much during COVID, some employers started to invest in standing desks and exercise desks to optimize productivity. Another great example of the use of human factors psych is the Google campus, where there are gyms, salons, sleeping rooms, cafeterias, and more free of charge to the employees. These ideas keep the employees happy at their jobs, make them more productive, and make the employees less likely to leave for another position. Sports and exercise psychology focuses on psychological aspects regarding sports and physical performance. The study of sports and exercise psychology includes studying motivation, performance-related anxiety, and general mental well-being. Becoming a sports and exercise psychologist requires at least a master's degree and also requires for the professional to become licensed in their state. Their primary concern is to help athletes navigate difficult topics that will influence their overall well-being as well as their performance in the sport. While the sports psychologists are best known for helping athletes overcome mental roadblocks and improve their performance, for example, they might help a basketball player out of a slump or help a runner regain confidence after an injury, that's only a sample of what sports psychologists do. With more of a demand for sports psychologists, their expanding roles include helping athletes and teams navigate interpersonal issues, addressing mental health problems like anxiety, depression, and eating disorders. Forensic psychology is a branch of psychology that deals with the justice system. Tasks of forensic psychologists include assessment of individuals' mental competency to stand trial, sentencing and treatment suggestions, and advisement regarding eyewitness testimonies. This field of psychology requires a strong understanding of the legal system. They can work for either the agency that investigates the crime and the court system. When investigating a crime, they may study criminals and their crimes to decipher what traits certain types of criminals have, which may involve interviewing criminals along with their loved ones and victims. In terms of the court system, forensic psychologists may also act as expert witnesses during criminal trials and give testimonies about why a crime may have occurred. Forensic psychology helps to assess risks for violence and can help courts make appropriate decisions on sentencing, granting privileges, and community reintegration. In today's video, we learned that there are hundreds of jobs that require the transferable skill of understanding behavior. Depending on the job title and/or description, the level of education required for the position varies considerably. Before we say goodbye, for reflection, please take a few moments to consider the following open-ended question. Why is psychology integrated into different jobs in different industries? I'd love to get your thoughts in the comments below. That's it for this lecture. In the next lecture, we will discuss research methods used in the study of psychology. Before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Stats with Torres for more Psych 101. Looking forward to it. Ciao!